Any advice and information from this podcast is general only. It has been prepared without taking into account your individual circumstances and needs. Before acting on any advice from this podcast, you should assess and seek advice on whether it is appropriate for your needs, financial situation, and investment objectives.
Hello, everybody. We're back again.
We are back.
Watch out.
Yeah, it's now like 4 o'clock in the morning. We've been recording all day. No, it's a joke. We were watching the markets and we were doing a heap of work, and then not really. Okay, as Jessie said, welcome back to another episode. This one sort of fits into our investment journey that we've been covering off on. There's a heap of episodes there. Feel free to listen to them in our little back catalogue. I'm not sure yet if our special guest speaker has appeared on our catalogue yet. But feel free to leap into that one. That is a pretty intriguing sort of listen, if that makes sense. But for today, something we come across a fair bit with our clients and out in social media and the journalism world or whatever, comparing and I guess analysing and strategizing retirement or I guess financial independence in your 20s versus in your 40s. And how to get there, when to start, is it too late to start, how do I fit it all in? There's a heap of those sort of catchwords out there, like I guess acronyms, and one I mentioned, Jessie, what was it? FIRE.
Oh, FIRE movement.
Yeah, the whole FIRE movement, that's definitely taken some storm. I could mash in a heap of letters and come up with some cool acronyms, but that's definitely the mainstream one. But for a lot of clients we see, because I guess the retirement thing is very subjective. There's no set age. A lot of, I'm not sure about your clients, they're like, hey, you know what? 67 when the government tells me I can retire, you know, how much money I should have. Well, retirement is just subjective. The government doesn't make you retire at a certain age. You can work till 100 if you're capable. You can earn money until you're 100 if you're capable. It just gives you different options at different ages. So generally speaking in Australia, 60, give or take pretty much now, is when you can access your superannuation.
Tax-free, yeah.
Tax-free, and you can access it. You can continue to work, you can leave it in super, but generally for most people, that's like their main source of retirement income. 67 in Australia is generally when you can apply for and potentially access the age pension or the Centrelink government pension. So they're kind of the two milestones. But if you have set yourself up, like what we're going to go through, if you've set yourself up to be financially independent in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you can do what you want.
I want to retire at 50.
You've retired anyway. As our listeners already know, Jessie barely works a day a week. So I'm out there grinding 100 hours a day.
We work him hard.
Yeah, so there's a lot of dye in this hair. And has my toupee come off?
No, you're good.
Okay, the stresses and dramas of it. No, the toupee hasn't come off, but I'm sure it will. Happily to help everyone else retire early, and then I'll work on myself later on.
Yeah.
I'm like the mechanic, you know, he helps everyone else's car be flash, well maintained. But when he looks at his car, it's his busted ass clapper. That's kind of, my finances are sorted, I think. I don't know. Actually, my wife could be out there spending up big right now. Oh, God. Anyway, early retirement in your 20s versus your 40s. What does it look like? A couple of general outlines, some considerations. By all means, this is not to say go out there and do what we've mentioned, but just to outline a few things, some considerations. If you want to have a chat with the internet, your advisor, us, feel free. This is just to definitely have some fun with the subject.
Yeah.
So, you know, can you probably can, still retire even if I've started a bit later? I'm 40. Jessie's definitely not 40. But what happens if I'm to start now? Can I retire at 60? How long will it take me? What are some of the things I need to do or consider, I guess, moving forward?
Yeah, I feel like any time's a good time to start investing.
So there's no set age?
No, they just kind of look different, I guess. You know, if you start investing in 20, when you're like age 20, which is rare because you're so young, you know, thinking about Vegas or going out to town with your friends. If you start investing at 20, obviously you've got the power of compounding growth.
Einstein talked about that.
Yeah.
The eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah.
Compound interest.
Yeah. So you've got an extra 20 years up your sleeve, but if you're in your
Yeah.
40s, you know, maybe you're in a better position financial wise and you have the capacity to put more funds towards
Yeah, valid point.
whatever you're investing in
Yeah, okay.
rather than your 20-year-old self who's eating rice and noodles.
I lived well in my 20s. Look, I won't lie. My life circumstances in my 20s are slightly different from 40s. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure I didn't have 3 kids then. 20 years old, didn't have a mortgage. I
Yep.
was just some skinny white idiot kid that joined the army. Look at me now. I'm slightly overweight and washed up. No, that's all right. So I guess part of the discussion is we'll sort of tip into like, what is this FIRE thing that people talk about? What's the acronym again? What does it mean? FIRE movement.
Independence move. What is it?
Financial independence.
Financial independence.
Retire early. Everyone wants to do it. Looks unreal on Instagram. How do all the people that I know in my social networks, why do their videos look like they've achieved this FIRE thing and I'm still here doing 100-hour weeks? Maybe not. You know, how is it appealing to people? How have they gotten there? Like, what jobs do they do? Where does this income come from? So, you know, it's always evolving. But there's some sacrifices. Some of these, and for some people, it works out. We've definitely met some through our client base. We've met some young individuals that are on track for that. They've got their goals established and they are sticking to them. They've sacrificed a few things, but it's going to work for them. And their goal is to, hey, I'm 25 now. I want to be independent by 40, 45, not 60 when I'm, you know, a little bit older. Whatever their sort of psychology on the money side is, they're definitely working towards it. So,
and what does it mean, independent by did you say 40? What does that kind of look like money wise?
well, I guess, for us, I know we sort of mentioned, look, when people go, I just want to be rich.
Yeah.
We sort of change the verbalization on it or the psychology of it. Financially independent is probably the words that we sort of use. Rich is real subjective. People that have $100 million, you could say that they're rich. Jessie, care to elaborate?
Oh, I wish. No.
I thought you were going to answer what it's like to have 100 mil. But for them, they might not be rich enough. For some people, $2 million might make them financially independent. I've got no debts. I'm 45 years old. The kids are out of the house. It's just me and the spouse. And 2 million or 5 million is enough for us to sustain a really good lifestyle or for me to work whenever I want to work.
So the passive income off that large amount of money.
That's right. My assets that I've built up are providing me different income streams that I don't necessarily have to go out and earn. So as an employee, they've got to work at a shop or at a bakery or something. They've got to do their 30, 40 hours a week.
Yep.
That's their main source of income. I guess for the financial independence sort of movement side, that they're building their assets in their earlier years. So then those assets will pay them so they can kind of reduce their workload. And there's a lot of people that want to do that. And not everyone wants to do that at 60 when we talk about the whole super thing. They want to achieve that earlier. So they want to experience the fruits of their labor before 60. So, you know, and when we compare the retirement goals of, say, 20s versus 40s, you know, well, you're closer to 20 than 40 per se. Like, you care to shed light on that one?
No, actually.
Yeah, it's, you know, so 20s, I guess, different mindset, different lifestyle. You've got more time. What was that compound interest you mentioned before?
So you can, I guess, if you've got $100 in a bank account, it's going to be worth a different amount in 3 years' time rather than 1 year time because you're earning interest on that each year, and on that interest you're earning more interest. So that's
compound interest, interest on interest, on interest, on interest. And I guess starting in your 20s gives you more time than in your 40s. So I guess when we talk about sort of the wealth generation side, so 20s can be potentially a bit more aggressive. They've got time on their side, and potentially they might have a different version of risk compared to, say, someone in their 40s or 50s, whether we talk about real estate investment or shares or whatever. A lot of people, I guess, as they get a bit older, whether they're 40s or 50s, like, oh, share market, could lose everything tomorrow. sort of. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
I guess just aligning what your goals are and then just coming up with a plan to work towards it. So, generally in your 20s, you've probably got, depending if you've bought a house or not or whatever, but you've got sort of less responsibilities. You most likely don't have kids. You might have come out of uni, finish your apprenticeship or whatever. You can be probably a bit more aggressive with your investing. Is that sort of something you've seen?
Yeah.
You've definitely seen a few younger clients.
Yeah, especially those that might be starting at the mines and have a larger income to start.
Yep.
I think we find a lot of people, they're so young they don't know what to do with all that money. But
good problem to have.
Yeah,
Unreal.
If there's a small portion that can even go, even $100 a week, that can go towards something that's going to create independence later.
Yeah, we did the math on that. We did some sort of a little bit of a case study, which we'll talk about in a second, on what it looks like if you were to invest a certain amount over a certain amount of time, earning a rough sort of growth rate, what it looks like for you at the back end, and definitely outlining what compound interest does. But it's interesting what you mentioned with some of your clients that are young, have just joined the mines, because obviously, say in North Queensland or majority of Queensland, maybe the same as WA, there's the mines is a real type of occupation. Depending on what you're doing, you can even do unskilled labour and earn really good income, especially as a 21-year-old who hasn't done an apprenticeship or a degree, can go out driving trucks, doing trade assistant maintenance, all that kind of stuff, and make really good money.
Yep.
I guess it comes down to what you do with it. And my experience, I did a couple of years in the mines, and I definitely saw that. I was closer to 30 when I got into the mines for a couple of years. Yep. The increase in income was big, especially coming from defence. But I saw the good side of it. There was some that really had a goal on, hey, I'm here to set my family up, pay off my investments or set my investments up, and then hopefully go back and do a more Monday to Friday thing. And then there was the other side where, especially with young kids, 20s, even 30s, that with the big income comes the big expenses, and they're not good expenses.
Yep.
Brand new BMW, brand new Land Cruiser. Oh, look, there's a boat just there, and I've got the caravan to go with it. We've talked about it in previous episodes. There are assets or things you buy that will create you passive income.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some things, yes, they're fun. I guess I get that. The whole YOLO, we've all been there. But you'll blink your eyes, 10 years goes down the track, that $100,000 ute is now worth $40,000. And it's not going to pay you anything on the side. But that's sort of some of the, I guess, the mindset tools we're sort of we're talking about.
So if I'm in my 20s, which I'm not, definitely, if I had like $100 a week spare and I'm interested in retiring early, what would that kind of look like in the long term?
Good question. We'll have a look at the sort of maths in a bit. And I guess on that kind of question, it's something we sometimes ask clients, well, do you want to retire, I guess, or reduce your workload before 60 or after 60? Because I guess there's a couple of avenues, generally, as a general sort of outline, there's sort of your superannuation strategy and there's investments outside of it, whether it's property, shares, managed funds, ETFs, whatever, crypto. You can kind of choose those depending on what your goals are. If it's a pre-60 thing, then maybe outside of super is something you should consider. If you're happy to keep forging on until 60, then maybe super is sort of that potentially the better of the options. But to answer sort of your question, Jessie, let's just say we compare a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old. They both put $1,000 into an investment, whether it's, they buy shares, managed funds, ETFs, real estate investment trusts, whatever it is. $1,000 in, they contribute $100 a week. It's roughly growing at an average of, let's just say, 8% a year.
Which is a normal index, I guess.
Yeah, for some of the indexes, some, as an average, when we look at the long term, if I started at 20, $1,000 in, $100 a week, religiously and diligently, compound interest, reinvest any dividends or anything, in 40 years' time, you've contributed about $209,000. You've experienced a growth of about 1.29 million. So your total or your final value is about nearly 1.5 million, just shy of.
What?
Yep.
By
Done.
$100 a week.
Yep. Are you you alluding to that's what we should have done or should be doing?
Yeah, we should have done that, shouldn't we?
Versus, let's just say we started at 40. Wait, that's me right now. $1,000 in, $100 a week, 8% growth. So 20 years, I've contributed about 105,000. The growth I've experienced is only about $150,000. So the total value by the time I'm 60 has got to about $255,000 as a general sort of rule of thumb with maths. By all means, everyone, you can go out there, hack it on your calculator, Excel, GPT, whatever, and see what it spits out, give or take. The difference in the final value, just in those 20 years, I guess, is about $1.24 million. Wow. Yeah. And look, by all means, I think you've got a couple of clients that are in the very early 20s that have kind of already started on this journey. They're happy to, the upside with some investments is you can start with $500 or $1,000, and that's quite achievable. A little bit different if you want to buy an investment property, you might have to sort of stump up a fair bit more, but trickle feeding, $100 in can be a stretch for some people, but as your career grows, your income grows, it's definitely something you can maintain. Just know that, $40 up, 40 years is a long time. You could die before then. That's true, but you most likely won't. You will definitely bear the fruits of it in 20 or 4 years. And look, you and I have both seen clients, I guess, that have got to their 50s and 60s, that hasn't sort of been, I guess, in their strategy. And they are now sort of, the anguish is sort of set in, and they're definitely sort of playing catch up. They might be in their 50s. They got 5 years till they can access the super.
Yep.
Look, they might have had the fancy cars or whatever, just through maybe bad circumstances, bad luck or whatever. But, they've kind of missed a bit of that boat of time and investing their money. At the end of the day, what's that adage? You can lead a horse to water,
Can't make the horse drink.
Something like that. Yeah, look, if it was that easy, everyone would do it. It comes down to so much more. And I guess it's where we sort of step in. But, in a perfect world, building the whole wealth thing that we talk about, 20s or 40s, live cheaply, invest in assets that are going to grow and pay you money. You will reap the rewards of it down the track if you give it that much.
And I mean, if you're in your 40s too, you might have access to more cash flow. So instead of the 20-year-old putting in $100 a week, maybe you have capacity to do $200, $300, $400.
Yep.
So you still have the power of compounding, just not to the huge effect that a 20-year-old does. So it can work either way. It's just a little different. Yeah.
Remember ages ago, read a quick article. Someone wrote a really interesting article on, hey, what happens if when you were born, government gave you a little bonus where they bought you, $100 or even $1,000 of a certain type of index fund or an ETF or a growth asset, not just like, hey, here's $1,000, go buy a car with it. From day dot, let that fester and grow, say in the share market, and you can access it at 60. The time and compound and growth, that would turn into millions essentially in the back end.
That's a great idea. Why don't they do that?
It's a story for another time. But that's the realism of it, instead of, let's just say, I guess for now you've got your pensions sort of set up there at 67, you can tap in, and by all means, and we definitely appreciate the fact that the government pension, it is what it is for people that have it. Some circumstances it may differ, but it's only meant to keep you there at a modest level and keep your lips above water. It's not meant to be, a really comfortable kind of retirement income, but it is what it is. That's sort of that side. So I guess, that's sort of the 20s strategy. And let's just say you do start in your 40s. There are different strategies out there you can do to build towards that, whether it's a superannuation thing. Yes, you might have started a bit later, but it's better late than never. Investment's still investment. You're still putting money into something that's going to grow and possibly provide an income, whether it's for you, your family, kids, spouse, or whatever.
Or maybe you want to do it for your kids for when they get their first car or pay off their uni degree.
I still haven't managed to answer the question how my kids are going to buy a house in 15 years. Damn. That's going to it's going to leave a scar is what it's going to leave. I don't know. Maybe the government comes up with, I don't know, they might just have to live in a dog kennel. I don't know, something.
They might have to stay with you.
They could. It means I'd pay them minimum dollar and they can get all the housework done. Anyway.
Free labour.
So that's, but with the whole FIRE movement comes sort of, you might have to be willing to sort of sacrifice a little bit now, and not everyone's willing to do that.
Yeah.
It's easy, as we said, to go, hey, 20 years old, invest some of your money to help it grow. Try telling that to pretty much, all Australians in between the ages of 18 and 25. There's a lot of other things you'd rather be spending your money on than I'm not worried about till I'm 40. But there are some real truths out there. There's some things you can set up. If you do them, by the time you hit 30 or 40, it'll be pretty significant, sort of the wealth you've accumulated. So
you won't have to be like us saying, "Oh, I wish I started earlier."
And look, we see it all the time. I guess we're sort of lucky. We have the experience of seeing hundreds of clients and talking to them about them, whether they're 18 or 60 or everyone in between. Because as you flow through your decades, there's different challenges that come up in those. So for a 20-year-old, there's not too many. Yes, they're just starting their career, but their expenses are a lot lower. They might have cheap rent. They don't have kids. They don't have a spouse. They don't have all that stuff. But in your 40s, usually you might have a couple of kids. You've probably got a mortgage. Your house it can't just be, if you've got a few kids, it might not be a 1 or 2 bedroom unit. It's probably got to be a house, a bit bigger, a bit more expensive. You might need a bigger car. Living costs have raised. So all those things sort of add to it. But I guess back to sort of our part of the message was, the benefits of starting earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
Time in the market is better than timing the market, I guess.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Your quote. Very
just
nice.
The math that we did before regarding sort of if I start at 20 or $40,000 in, $100 a week, up until I'm 60, what does that look like? The fact that the difference is about $1.25 million is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to add to that one, J-Mac?
I think we've got it all. It's just really interesting to see the power of compounding growth, actually.
Yeah, and in compounding interest and growth in certain types of assets.
Yeah.
Look, it's all well and good, and we've got a lot of clients that just want to keep their money in a savings account. 100%. There's good and bad with that. Banks love it. They use it, make more money. But as savings, keeping your money under your pillows, depends. I don't know what happens if you have a fire. But anyway, finding those growing assets that provide an income and growth probably outweigh just having your money in a savings account.
And beating inflation.
Yeah, which can chew up your returns a fair bit. Yeah. Inflation sort of, it's lowered a little bit. I think we just had about 1.2%, give or take, in the last sort of 6 months. But, in the background, whether it's real estate or shares, it's they're sort of the assets you will probably need to look at, generally speaking, that are going to help you get to where you need to go if you want to be financially independent a bit earlier.
Yep.
And we've seen that with a lot of our clients. The proof's in the pudding. There are some that apply themselves to it, and it does work for them. Easier said than done, but it is doable.
Yeah.
So,
and it's fun. Investing is fun.
Especially when you get, I don't know, notifications of dividends or I don't know. I guess we've seen it with clients, especially with the whole real estate thing in the last couple of years. Capital growth's really blown up, and they've seen that their house that was worth 500 is now worth 850 in a year or two's time, and that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
They wouldn't have got that if it was under the pillow or in a bank.
Yep.
For some people that helps add another building block or brick to them getting to the, hey, at 55, I want to be able to work 10 hours a week, not 45 hours a week, or put my kids through uni or something like that.
Yeah,
So
it can change your life.
again, it's building independence.
Yep.
I don't have to do 60 hours a week. I can buy that new car or whatever it is. So food for thought.
Yeah.
Cool. So look, we've covered a bit, some comparisons of that. We've kept it pretty general. Again, if you've got questions, feel free to email Jessie. I'll be trying to figure out. No, yeah. So hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like, send us an email, shoot us a message. If you've got some questions out there or real life experiences you think we can add, we might mention it on this potty/video. And you'll catch us sooner next time. Ciao,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See you, J-Mac.